Welcome to Beyond the Cover, the channel where we explore powerful ideas hidden inside the world's most life-changing books. Because sometimes a single idea from a book can change the way you think and the way you live. Today, we're diving into one of the most popular mindset books of recent years, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. But this video isn't just a summary. It's a journey into understanding how monks train their minds to live with peace, clarity, and purpose, even in a chaotic world. And the surprising part is this: you don't have to become a monk to apply these lessons in your own life. So let's begin. Let's start with a simple question. Why do so many people feel constantly stressed, distracted, or overwhelmed, even when life seems to be going well? Think about the average day. You wake up and immediately check your phone. Notifications, messages, emails, news updates. Before your day even begins, your mind is already filled with noise. Then comes work, responsibilities, deadlines, and endless information. By the end of the day, your mind feels exhausted, yet it still refuses to rest. Even at night, when you lie in bed, your thoughts keep running. You replay conversations from the past. You worry about the future. You compare your life with others. And suddenly, something that should be simple, like sleeping peacefully, becomes difficult. According to Jay Shetty, this restless mental state is not unusual. In fact, most people live their entire lives in this state without realizing it. Monks have a name for this kind of mind. They call it the monkey mind. Just like a monkey jumping endlessly from branch to branch, our thoughts constantly jump from one idea to another. One moment you are focused, the next moment you are worrying, then suddenly you are comparing yourself with someone else. The monkey mind is impulsive, distracted, and reactive. And modern life makes this problem even worse. Social media constantly shows us the highlight reels of other people's lives. Someone is traveling to beautiful places. Someone else is celebrating a promotion. Another person seems to have the perfect relationship. Slowly, our minds begin to compare. And without even noticing it, we start believing that everyone else is doing better than us. This constant comparison creates anxiety, insecurity, and dissatisfaction. But monks approach the mind in a completely different way. Instead of allowing their thoughts to control them, monks train their minds through discipline, awareness, and reflection. They understand something that most people never realize. Your mind is not supposed to control you. You are supposed to train your mind. And once you learn how to do that, something incredible begins to happen. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotions become calmer. Your decisions become wiser. In other words, your monkey mind slowly transforms into a monk mind. But before we learn how monks train their minds, we first need to understand something even more important: why so many people spend their entire lives chasing success, yet still feel unhappy inside. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next section. Most people grow up believing a simple formula for happiness: study hard, get a good job, earn more money, buy the things you want, and then happiness will come. At least, that's what society tells us. But if this formula were true, then people who achieve success should be the happiest people in the world. Yet when we look around, we often see the opposite. Many successful people still feel stressed, anxious, or unfulfilled. Some feel trapped in careers they once dreamed about. Others constantly feel pressure to achieve even more. And some realize that even after reaching their goals, the happiness they expected never truly arrives. So what's happening here? According to Jay Shetty, the problem is not success itself. The problem is how we define success. From childhood, we are taught to chase external achievements: grades, titles, money, status. But monks focus on something very different. They focus on internal fulfillment. While society teaches us to measure success by what we accumulate, monks measure success by who we become. Instead of asking, "How much have I achieved?" they ask, "How much have I grown?" This shift in perspective changes everything, because when success is defined only by external achievements, it becomes a race that never ends. There will always be someone richer, someone more famous, someone more successful. And if we keep comparing ourselves to others, we will never feel satisfied. Monks understand that chasing endless achievements without inner clarity can lead to a life that looks successful from the outside but feels empty on the inside. That's why they train their minds to focus on purpose rather than pressure. Purpose gives direction to our actions. It helps us understand why we do what we do. And when our actions are aligned with purpose, even ordinary work begins to feel meaningful. But discovering purpose requires something many people rarely do. It requires looking inward instead of constantly looking outward. And that brings us to one of the most important lessons in this book. Before we can build a meaningful life, we must first understand who we truly are. Because without self-awareness, we might spend years chasing goals that were never truly ours. And in the next section, we'll explore the powerful idea of identity and how society quietly shapes the way we see ourselves. Let's pause for a moment and ask a deeper question. Who are you, really? At first, this question seems simple. You might answer with your name, your profession, or your role in life. Maybe you say you are a student, a teacher, an entrepreneur, a parent, or an employee. But according to Jay Shetty, those labels don't truly define who we are. They're simply roles we play. The real question is much deeper. How much of your identity is truly yours, and how much of it was shaped by the world around you? From the moment we are born, society begins influencing the way we see ourselves. Our families tell us what success should look like. Schools tell us what careers are respected. Friends and social media constantly show us what a perfect life is supposed to be. Slowly, without realizing it, we begin building our identity based on these external expectations. We start chasing goals not because they truly matter to us, but because we believe they will make us accepted, respected, or admired. This is what Jay Shetty describes as living someone else's life. Many people spend years climbing ladders that they never actually wanted to climb. They pursue careers that impress others but leave them feeling empty inside. They follow paths that were chosen for them rather than paths they truly believe in. Monks look at identity in a completely different way. They believe that our true identity is like a mirror covered in dust. The mirror represents who we truly are, and the dust represents everything the world places on top of us. Expectations, social pressure, comparison, fear of judgment, the need for approval. Over time, this dust becomes so thick that we forget what the mirror looks like. We begin to believe that the dust itself is our identity. But monks dedicate their lives to something very powerful. They slowly remove this dust. Through meditation, reflection, and self-awareness, they begin asking questions that most people rarely ask. Questions like, what do I truly value? What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life would feel meaningful to me? These questions may seem simple, but they can completely transform the direction of a person's life. Because when we begin to understand our true values, something important happens. We stop chasing approval. We stop comparing ourselves to everyone else. And instead of trying to impress the world, we start focusing on becoming a better version of ourselves. But removing the dust from our identity is not easy. there is one powerful habit that keeps putting the dust back on the mirror again and again. It's something almost everyone does every single day, and that habit is comparison. In the next section, we'll explore why comparison quietly destroys our happiness and how monks train their minds to break free from it. Let's imagine something that happens to almost everyone. You open your phone for just a few minutes, you scroll through social media, and suddenly you see someone traveling to beautiful places, then another person celebrating a new job, then someone sharing their perfect relationship, their achievements, their lifestyle. Within seconds, something subtle happens in your mind. You start comparing. Maybe you begin thinking, why is their life moving so fast? Why haven't I achieved that yet? Am I falling behind? This silent comparison is one of the biggest sources of unhappiness in modern life. And the dangerous part is that most of us don't even realize when it begins. According to Jay Shetty, comparison is like a mental habit that slowly drains our peace of mind. Instead of focusing on our own journey, we constantly measure our progress against other people. But the truth is, comparison creates an illusion, because when we compare our lives with others, we are usually comparing our reality with their highlights. We see their best moments, but we don't see their struggles. We see their achievements, but we don't see the years of effort, mistakes, and failures behind them. Monks understand something very important about comparison. They realize that every person's life unfolds at a different pace. Some people discover their purpose early. Others find it much later. Some achieve success quickly. Others grow slowly but steadily. But none of these paths are wrong, because life is not a race. It is a personal journey. When monks train their minds, they stop measuring their progress by what others are doing. Instead, they measure their growth by one simple question: am I becoming a better person than I was yesterday? This shift may sound small, but it completely changes how we experience life. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, something powerful happens. We begin to focus on our own progress. We appreciate our own journey. We celebrate small improvements instead of constantly chasing perfection. And most importantly, we stop feeling like we are falling behind. Because the truth is, there is no universal timeline for life. But breaking free from comparison requires something even deeper. It requires learning how to manage one of the most powerful forces inside the human mind, a force that quietly shapes our decisions, our emotions, and our behavior. That force is negativity. In the next section, we'll explore why the human mind naturally focuses on negative thoughts and how monks train themselves to overcome this tendency. Have you ever noticed something strange about the way the human mind works? One small negative comment can ruin your entire day. You might receive 10 compliments, but if one person criticizes you, that single negative remark stays in your mind much longer than the praise. Why does this happen? Why does the mind seem to hold on to negative thoughts more strongly than positive ones? According to Jay Shetty, this tendency is deeply rooted in human psychology. Our brains are naturally wired to notice danger, problems, and threats. Thousands of years ago, this ability helped our ancestors survive. If they ignored potential dangers, they might not live long enough to pass on their knowledge. So the brain developed a habit of constantly scanning the environment for problems. Even though we no longer live in dangerous forests or hunt for survival, our brains still operate with this same ancient system. Today, the threats are different. Instead of worrying about predators, we worry about rejection, failure, embarrassment, or losing our reputation. And because the brain is designed to focus on threats, it often exaggerates negative experiences. This is why a small mistake can feel like a huge failure. This is why criticism can feel more powerful than encouragement. And this is why many people constantly feel anxious or dissatisfied even when their lives are going well. Monks understand this tendency very clearly, but instead of trying to eliminate negative thoughts completely, they learn something much more powerful. They learn to observe their thoughts without becoming controlled by them. When a negative thought appears, monks do not immediately believe it. They simply notice it. They ask themselves, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it necessary? This simple practice creates a small but powerful distance between a person and their thoughts. Instead of reacting emotionally to every negative idea, they begin responding with awareness. Over time, this awareness weakens the power of negativity. Another important practice monks follow is carefully choosing the people and environments they expose themselves to. Because negativity often spreads through social influence, if we constantly spend time around people who complain, criticize, gossip, or spread pessimism, our own thinking slowly begins to mirror theirs. But when we surround ourselves with people who focus on growth, gratitude, and learning, our mindset gradually shifts in a positive direction. Jay Shetty describes this idea in a simple way. The mind is like a garden. If we constantly plant seeds of negativity, criticism, and comparison, the garden will eventually fill with weeds. But if we plant seeds of gratitude, patience, and understanding, the garden begins to flourish. The challenge is that cultivating a healthy mind requires consistent effort. And monks know that one of the most powerful tools for strengthening the mind is something that many people misunderstand or avoid. That tool is meditation. In the next section, we'll explore why meditation is not about escaping reality, but about training the mind to experience reality more clearly. When many people hear the word meditation, they imagine something mysterious. Some picture monks sitting silently for hours in the mountains. Others believe meditation means completely emptying the mind of all thoughts. Because of these misconceptions, many people feel that meditation is difficult or unrealistic for everyday life. But according to Jay Shetty, meditation is actually much simpler than we think. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts. It is about learning how to observe them without being controlled by them. Think of your mind like a busy highway. Every day, thousands of thoughts move through your mind like cars speeding past. Some thoughts are positive, some are negative, some are helpful, and many are simply distractions. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to every thought that appears. If a negative thought arrives, it immediately changes their mood. If a worry appears, it creates anxiety. If a memory appears, it pulls them into the past. Meditation teaches us something very powerful. It teaches us to step back and watch the traffic instead of standing in the middle of the road. When monks meditate, they often begin with something very simple. They focus on their breathing. Slow inhale, slow exhale. As they breathe, their attention stays gently connected to the rhythm of their breath. Of course, thoughts still appear. The mind wanders, it jumps to plans, memories, worries, or random ideas. But instead of fighting these thoughts, meditators simply notice them and bring their attention back to the breath, again and again. At first, this might seem repetitive or even frustrating, but something interesting begins to happen with consistent practice. Just like exercising strengthens the body, meditation strengthens the mind. Over time, people develop greater focus, their thoughts become clearer, their emotions become more balanced, and they begin reacting less impulsively to stress or frustration. Jay Shetty explains that meditation is not just about feeling calm in the moment, it is about training the mind for everyday life. Because life will always bring challenges, unexpected problems, difficult conversations, moments of uncertainty. Meditation helps us develop the mental strength to face these situations with clarity instead of panic. Even a few minutes of daily meditation can begin creating noticeable changes. People become more patient, more aware of their thoughts, more capable of responding calmly instead of reacting emotionally. And perhaps most importantly, meditation helps us reconnect with something many people have lost in modern life: inner peace. But meditation is only one part of a monk's daily practice. Another powerful habit monks cultivate is something that can completely transform the way we experience life. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with success, wealth, or achievement. It has everything to do with gratitude. In the next section, we'll explore how gratitude can shift our mindset from constantly chasing more to appreciating what we already have. Let's imagine two people who wake up on the same morning. Both have a job, both have a place to live, both have people in their lives who care about them, but their experiences of life are completely different. One person wakes up and immediately thinks about everything that is missing. They complain about their job. They feel frustrated about what they don't have. They constantly think about how much better life could be. The other person wakes up and notices something different. They appreciate the small things: the quiet morning, the opportunity to work, the people who support them. Even though both lives look similar from the outside, their inner worlds are completely different. And the reason is simple. One mindset focuses on lack, the other focuses on gratitude. According to Jay Shetty, monks train themselves to see life through the lens of gratitude. But gratitude is not just about saying thank you occasionally. It is a way of training the mind to notice what is already good in life. In modern society, we are constantly encouraged to want more money, more success, more recognition, more possessions. While ambition can motivate us, it can also create a constant feeling that what we have is never enough. Monks balance ambition with appreciation. They understand that happiness does not come only from achieving more, it also comes from recognizing the value of what we already have. One simple practice Jay Shetty suggests is reflecting daily on things we are grateful for. These don't have to be extraordinary events. In fact, the most powerful gratitude often comes from small moments: a meaningful conversation, a lesson learned from a mistake, a moment of kindness from someone. Even challenges can become sources of gratitude when we realize how much they help us grow. Over time, practicing gratitude changes the way the brain interprets experiences. Instead of automatically focusing on problems, the mind begins noticing opportunities and positive moments. This shift creates greater resilience during difficult times, because when life becomes challenging, gratitude reminds us that problems are only one part of our story. But gratitude also connects to something deeper. It helps us move beyond constantly thinking about ourselves. It encourages us to care more about others, and this leads to another powerful lesson monks practice every day: the lesson of service and compassion. In the next section, we'll explore why helping others may be one of the most powerful ways to find meaning in life. In modern society, success is often defined by personal achievement. We are encouraged to focus on building our careers, increasing our income, and improving our personal status. While there is nothing wrong with pursuing goals, this mindset can sometimes make life feel like a constant competition. Everyone is trying to move ahead. Everyone is focused on their own progress. But monks approach life with a very different perspective. Instead of asking, "How can I get more?" they ask a different question: "How can I give more?" According to Jay Shetty, one of the most powerful sources of happiness comes from service. Service simply means contributing to the well-being of others. This does not always require grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can have the greatest impact. Listening carefully when someone needs support, helping a colleague solve a problem, encouraging a friend who feels discouraged. Even a simple moment of genuine compassion can change someone's day. Monks understand that when we focus only on ourselves, our problems often feel bigger than they actually are. But when we shift our attention toward helping others, something surprising happens. Our perspective changes. We begin realizing that everyone is facing their own struggles. Everyone is trying to overcome challenges.
and this realization creates a deeper sense of empathy. Helping others also creates a sense of purpose. When our actions improve someone else's life, even in small ways, those actions gain meaning. This meaning is very different from the temporary satisfaction that comes from material success. Material rewards can fade quickly, but meaningful contributions create lasting fulfillment. Jay Shetty explains that service is not about sacrificing your own well-being. Instead, it is about recognizing that our lives become richer when we contribute to something larger than ourselves. This is why many monks dedicate their time to teaching, supporting communities, and guiding others toward personal growth. They understand that fulfillment grows when it is shared. But serving others effectively requires another important skill. It requires the ability to build strong and meaningful relationships, because the quality of our relationships often determines the quality of our lives. In the next section, we'll explore how monks approach relationships differently, and why understanding love, connection, and compassion can transform the way we interact with others.
No matter how successful a person becomes, life can still feel empty without meaningful relationships. Humans are naturally social beings. We need connection, we need understanding, and we need people who support us during both the good and difficult moments of life. But in today's fast-paced world, relationships often become complicated. Misunderstandings grow quickly, expectations create pressure, and small conflicts sometimes turn into long-lasting resentment. According to Jay Shetty, monks approach relationships with a mindset that focuses on understanding rather than controlling others. Many relationship problems begin when we expect others to behave exactly the way we want them to. We want people to think like us, act like us, agree with us. But monks recognize a simple truth. Every person carries their own experiences, beliefs, and emotional struggles. No two people see the world in exactly the same way. When we truly understand this, our expectations begin to change. Instead of trying to control people, we begin learning how to appreciate their individuality. Another important principle monks follow is deep listening. In many conversations, people are not really listening. They are simply waiting for their turn to speak. Their mind is already preparing a response before the other person has finished talking. But true listening requires something different. It requires full attention. It requires patience. And it requires genuine curiosity about what the other person is experiencing. When someone feels truly heard, trust begins to grow, and trust is the foundation of every strong relationship. Jay Shetty also explains that healthy relationships require compassion. Everyone goes through moments of stress, frustration, or emotional pain. During these moments, people may behave differently than usual. Instead of immediately reacting with anger or judgment, monks try to respond with empathy. They ask themselves a powerful question: what might this person be going through right now? This simple shift creates space for patience and understanding. It allows relationships to grow stronger rather than breaking under pressure. Of course, relationships will never be perfect. Disagreements will happen. People will sometimes disappoint us. But monks believe that relationships become meaningful not because they are free of conflict, but because they are built on respect, patience, and compassion. And learning these qualities requires something every monk practices regularly: the ability to remain calm and centered during difficult situations. In the next section, we will explore how monks deal with stress, uncertainty, and emotional challenges, and how their approach can help us remain peaceful even in chaotic moments. Life rarely moves exactly the way we plan. Unexpected challenges appear, careers change, relationships evolve. Sometimes the future feels uncertain, and that uncertainty can create stress and anxiety. Many people try to deal with stress by ignoring it, distracting themselves, or hoping it will simply disappear. But monks approach stress in a very different way. Instead of avoiding difficult situations, they learn how to understand and manage their reactions to them. According to Jay Shetty, stress often comes not from the situation itself, but from the story we create about the situation in our minds. For example, imagine making a mistake at work. The mistake itself may be small, but the mind quickly begins creating a series of negative thoughts. What if people think I'm incompetent? What if this affects my future? What if everything goes wrong? Within minutes, the mind has transformed a simple mistake into a much larger emotional burden.
Monks train themselves to pause during these moments. Instead of immediately reacting to their thoughts, they examine them carefully. They ask themselves questions like, is this thought based on facts or assumptions? Am I imagining the worst possible outcome? What is the most constructive action I can take right now? This habit of mindful reflection helps prevent emotions from escalating unnecessarily. Another powerful practice monks follow is learning to accept what cannot be controlled. Many sources of stress come from trying to control things that are outside our influence. We cannot control other people's opinions. We cannot control every event that happens around us, and we cannot predict every outcome in the future. But what we can control is how we respond. When monks face uncertainty, they focus their energy on the actions they can take in the present moment. They do their best with the resources and knowledge they have right now. Then they allow the results to unfold naturally. This mindset creates a sense of calm, even in unpredictable situations, because instead of fighting reality, they learn how to work with it. Jay Shetty explains that inner peace does not come from having a perfectly controlled life. It comes from developing the strength to remain balanced even when life becomes unpredictable. But developing this inner balance requires something deeper than temporary motivation. It requires a clear sense of purpose. Purpose gives direction to our efforts. It helps us understand why we wake up each morning and what kind of impact we want to make in the world. And discovering that purpose is one of the most important journeys any person can take. In the next section, we'll explore how monks discover their purpose and how anyone can begin identifying the work that truly matters to them.
Many people spend years searching for one important thing, their purpose. They wonder what they are truly meant to do. They ask themselves questions like, what career will make me happy? What should I dedicate my life to? Am I following the right path? But according to Jay Shetty, many people misunderstand what purpose really means. They believe purpose is a single moment of sudden discovery, a magical realization that instantly reveals their life's direction. In reality, purpose often grows gradually through experience, curiosity, and service. Monks believe purpose is not something we simply find. It is something we build through consistent actions. Jay Shetty explains that purpose often lies at the intersection of three important elements. First, the things we are naturally good at. These are the skills and abilities that feel intuitive to us. Second, the things we genuinely enjoy doing, activities that make us feel energized rather than exhausted. And third, the ways we can use those abilities to contribute to others. When these three elements come together, work begins to feel meaningful. Instead of working only for external rewards like money or recognition, we begin working because our actions create positive value. But discovering purpose requires patience. It requires trying different experiences, learning new skills, and sometimes even failing before finding the path that feels right. Monks understand that uncertainty during this journey is completely normal. Instead of fearing mistakes, they treat them as valuable teachers. Every experience reveals something new about our interests, strengths, and values. Another important lesson Jay Shetty shares is that purpose does not always need to appear in dramatic ways. Sometimes purpose is found in small but meaningful contributions, teaching someone a skill, supporting a community, helping people grow. Even everyday professions can become purposeful when they are approached with intention and care. The key difference is mindset. When we focus only on personal success, work may feel like a constant obligation. But when we focus on contribution, work becomes an opportunity to make a difference. And when work aligns with purpose, motivation becomes stronger and more sustainable. But living with purpose requires one final and very powerful shift in perspective. It requires learning how to let go of ego, because ego often pushes us to chase status, approval, and recognition rather than meaningful impact. In the final section, we'll explore how monks understand the ego and how letting go of it can bring a deeper sense of peace and clarity. There is one hidden force that quietly influences many of our decisions. It affects how we react to criticism. It shapes how we compare ourselves with others, and it often pushes us to chase recognition and approval. That force is ego. Ego is the voice in our mind that constantly asks questions like, do people respect me?
Am I more successful than others? Why didn't I get the recognition I deserve? While ego may sometimes motivate ambition, it can also create unnecessary stress and conflict. According to Jay Shetty, the ego often convinces us that our value depends on how others perceive us. When someone criticizes us, the ego feels attacked. When someone else succeeds, the ego feels threatened. When we fail, the ego feels embarrassed. Because of this, ego constantly pushes us to defend our image instead of focusing on personal growth. Monks approach this problem in a completely different way. They practice humility and self-awareness. Instead of protecting their ego, they observe it. They recognize that the ego is simply another mental pattern, not the true essence of who they are. When monks receive criticism, they don't immediately reject it. Instead, they ask themselves a powerful question. Is there something I can learn from this? Even if the criticism is uncomfortable, they try to extract wisdom from it. This mindset transforms mistakes into opportunities for growth. Letting go of ego also helps people experience greater inner peace, because when we are not constantly trying to prove ourselves, life becomes simpler. We become more open to learning, more accepting of different perspectives, and more focused on meaningful actions rather than external validation. Jay Shetty explains that true confidence does not come from believing we are better than others. True confidence comes from knowing that we are always capable of learning, improving, and growing. This humility creates freedom. Freedom from constant comparison, freedom from the pressure to impress others, and freedom to focus on becoming the best version of ourselves. When we combine all the lessons in this book, self-awareness, gratitude, meditation, service, purpose, and humility, something powerful begins to happen. We start seeing life with greater clarity. We begin making decisions with intention, and we slowly develop a mindset that is calmer, wiser, and more focused. In other words, we begin to think like a monk. Sometimes the most powerful lessons in life are not about achieving more, but about understanding ourselves more deeply. The wisdom shared in Think Like a Monk reminds us that peace, clarity, and purpose are not found somewhere outside in the world. They are developed inside our minds. By training our thoughts, our habits, and our perspectives, we can transform the way we experience life. And when we change the way we think, we change the way we live. If you enjoyed this journey into the wisdom of monks, remember that every great book holds lessons waiting to be discovered. Here on Beyond the Cover, we explore the powerful ideas hidden inside the world's most influential books. Because sometimes the most life-changing insights are found beyond the cover. If you found this summary valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful book insights. And until the next book, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring beyond the cover.